Okay, guys, welcome. Welcome. So, anyway, before I start, we're going to play a little bit of music, and that gives time for people to come in. And what I'm going to play here is improvised, one take. I just recorded right before the broadcast, and enjoy. And then I'll be right back after the music. Okay, we're back. So I can't hear. I can't hear what you're hearing. So I hope it sounded okay. I just recorded right before, plugged it into the computer on OBS, and somebody said it was clipping. Yeah, didn't have time to go edit that. So that's just, right before the broadcast. So how are you doing, guys? So hopefully that also helps to get people in here. And if you're on a replay, you can always skip the music anyway. Okay, guys. So yeah, that I don't tell you what the tune is because if YouTube recognizes the music, then they will demonetize the broadcast. So yeah, that's improvised over the chords of over the rainbow. So just improvised. Anyway, the topic tonight is just something that I've just been noticing, and that is that we seem to be being herded into a certain direction, and the young people are seeing that the only way to do technology is just the way that is being pushed to them, and there are no longer any options. And a lot of people are doing things like not buying computers. They are like Starlight here. Starlight doesn't use computers. Starlight karaoke here is all mobile. So he's one of those that are very, very heavily influenced by that. Many, many young people are. They, maybe they use a computer only in school, but Mostly not. Starlight actually uses a computer, but not mostly. So the point is, it's a trend, and it's kind of a dangerous trend, and it's very important that you recognize it and that you counter it, that you actually rethink your view of technology and don't go listen to what Marquez Brownlee says or Linus Tech Tips, and start thinking for yourself if the technology may do things that are bad for you. Now, let me just explain this a little bit more. Okay, for one thing, one of the biggest pushes is 5G. So, as you know, many of you have a older phone, likely LTE, which is not that old, and you got the false message from AT&T and so on, and they said, "Oh, we're gonna drop support for your phone because it doesn't have VoLTE or Voice over LTE, and you have to buy a 5G phone. You got to buy a 5G phone." Hey guys, who says you got to buy a 5G phone? I mean, that's the biggest nonsense right there. Why is the salesperson saying that you got to buy a 5G phone? Why? I mean, that's pretty specific, that you got to buy a 5G phone. Why do you have to buy a 5G phone when we know 4G is just fine and 4G is going to be supported and is supported? Why the heck are they saying you got to buy a 5G phone? So that's a sign there's a problem here. Why are we being herded into 5G? Who needs 5G? Do you need 5G? I guess what they want to do is make sure that your whole lives is on video, which requires more bandwidth, and that everything you do is video. They don't even want you to call on the phone anymore. They want everything to be video. And by doing video, you're going to use more bandwidth. And by using video, then you're forced to watch everything as video. You stop reading. Everything's got to be a video. And you're going to be forced to 5G because the expectation is that you're going to need to do video. And therefore, the other expectation is we're going to have to charge you more, folks. We got to charge you more because you're using more bandwidth. And we're going to set some limits on your bandwidth when you're using 5G. So you can't behave like you do with 4G. You got to watch your movies on your phone. Now, there's more consequences to this. So 5G is an effect to this. But we've already seen this. So what happens is you have your phone, and all of your interactions with the world are on that phone. All the news is from the phone. But not just any phone. All your news is going to be controlled by two sucking sources: Apple, Google. That's it. Facebook. So 90% of your source of information will come from Apple, Google, and Facebook. And if Apple, Google, and Facebook don't like the subject matter, they'll censor the topic. So then your phone then is restricted to what big tech wants you to see. Since you don't rely on any other device, you're actually very dependent now on what is directed to you from these mobile devices. This is the only source of information. People don't research anymore. Your way of research is say, Siri, what is the name of that yacht? Who owns that yacht? Oh, Abramovich. Yeah, you can't even search that on your own. You're gonna say Siri. So of course Siri, Apple, knows exactly what you asked as well. So it's kind of crazy that then we're also not just restricting or being funneled into technology of a specific kind, specific phones, specific platforms, specific networks, meaning 5G, specific absence of certain devices, meaning less computers, everything portable, less Windows, more, maybe we should support Windows. I'm starting to worry now. And maybe we gotta make sure Windows survives because, yeah, the kind of censorship that you will find on a mobile phone is way more than any kind of thing that Microsoft can do. Microsoft actually has very limited things they can do on a computer, but on a mobile phone where you don't have much access, everything is hidden from you. They have a lot of control, and one of the main controls is apps. If they don't like a subject matter, maybe being pushed by some app, they cut the app out. If they don't want you to be supporting some party, like Gab, for example, had this very bad experience, and they got cut off. And not only did they get cut off from the app side, they got cut off from the money side, because now it's not just the phone, it's MasterCard, Visa, American Express. Everything is all connected because they control it through it like a very tight funnel, and they can actually just squeeze you and squeeze information out. And some of you say, well, that's good, we don't want to hear disinformation from X, Y, or Z. Yeah, that sounds good if the information is in your belief system. But if at any moment you disagree, you will never hear the truth. Because they're afraid of the truth. They're afraid to tell you the truth. Because apparently, and this may be true, but apparently you guys are too dumb to see the truth. So they got to go block it because you can't decide for yourself. Because debate's not allowed. Because if you get debate, somebody might believe the other side. So the solution is, let's just strike them out. So there's no debate. And that, guys, is the tendency when you restrict platforms, restrict technologies, and you are left with no option. So what do we do to fight against this, folks? You see, I am not going to be victimized by this. The kind of people that are going to be victimized are those that do not understand the threat and don't understand that there are other ways to get information, and that you need to actively search for that information and be smart enough about it by avoiding sources of information that you do not trust. At the very least, don't rely on it. Okay? Now, I will check various mainstream media, but I don't rely on that. I do check it to make sure I know what side they're on, and it's funny when you watch like a CNN versus a Fox News, how they're like in different countries. I mean, the points of view are like 180 degrees. They're like completely different. And that's actually good to see, because then you get a more balanced view. But some of you, no, I'm so politicized. I'm just going to stay with my side. I'm going to only watch X. And some of you are even more restrictive by, going to a very, very narrow area. Like you only listen to a particular alt news news source. You got to vary all that. You got to look around, because you cannot trust anyone. Not anyone. You don't trust anyone. What you do is you search for information so that you are able to judge. Don't rely on all those people who use a phone, especially young people and very old people that rely on Facebook for their news. So everything they know is whatever is on Facebook, because they're too lazy to search the internet, because they don't have a device to do so. So grandma got Facebook on here, and that's the only app that her son installed. So then she looks only at Facebook and is making decisions just based on whatever is installed on the phone. So what's the solution, folks? First of all, don't rely on the phone. I don't know about you guys, but this is very deadly as a herding device. Very, very deadly. I tend not to use this as much. So some people say, your phone is not so secure. Some of this, I need, a terabyte on my phone. It's like, A terabyte on a phone? Why would you need a sucking terabyte on your phone? The only reason you need a terabyte on your phone is that you're putting everything on your phone that's not supposed to be on phone. So if anyone steals your phone, you're pretty much sucked, because you relied on a mobile phone to put every picture in your lifetime and every communication with everybody else, every contact, every email, everything is on your zucking phone. That is zucking stupid. That is a sign that you will get herded. You will get herded into a very limited point of view. You will be manipulated. Your search engine will be whatever Google wants to feed you. You will not be a good citizen because you don't have a good view of the issues. You only have a one-sided view of the issues. And by the way, that's true of many, many young people, because they rely too much on a single device. I don't. I rely more on my computer. So if you're going to ask me about proportion of time spent, I would say for me, 90% computer, meaning a laptop, and 10% the phone. The phone is, to take an occasional picture, which I then download and put on some other device, like on my computer, obviously for communications and running any kind of mobile communications. And I hardly even text on this because, as you all know, your texts are being read. Your texts are even being censored. How about that? How did you know? How about that? Your text being censored. Biden admitted they're going to censor your anti-vax views on text. And you thought your text was private. And somebody says, well, T-Mobile and so on, AT&T, I'm sure, all these people are censoring text. They can do that because you allowed yourself to be herded into a specific kind of technology. The world isn't so black and white anymore. You don't have to be herded into one category. We have, as a market, meaning as a community of people, have to buy different kinds of products. We can't rely on these and say, I'm going to go with the biggest tech here. Get a computer, get a Linux computer. For one, I'm using, my main computer is a Dell XPS. Nice computer, small. It's pretty small and light. I run Pop OS on it. It's able to run Pop OS natively. I didn't have to do much. And yeah, no issues. I do have a Windows computer. I have a Mac. I don't use those primarily, but I need them because of what I do. But my Windows computer is used for video editing. So once a week I got to use that to do the video editing to make the videos you see. But other than that, I use 90% of the time I'm on my Linux computer, and then off the time that I'm on a device, it's 90% computer, 10% a phone. And this is kind of important. Your phone is kind of a connection to your identity. So if you have a standard phone instead of what I push here, which is a privacy phone, if you have a standard phone, the effect is that your identity is tied to your computer. So let's say you're logged into Google on this, and you're logged into Google on your computer. You basically kind of cancel out the effect of being on a computer because it's called cross-device tracking. And if you're on an iPhone and then you log into some Google app in here, same thing, cross-device tracking. And what that does, it means that whatever you do on your mobile device and whatever you do on your computer are now matched. So how do you solve this? Very easily. You have to break these connections. One of the biggest ways to disconnect is to use a privacy phone. There are many kinds of privacy phones. The primary feature of a privacy phone is there's no big tech on it. Okay, so for example, this is a Brax 2. This is a Brax 2 privacy phone. And there's no Google on it. I've never signed into anything, so it's not connected to any big tech. So whatever I do here cannot be attached to the computer since there's no There's no connection. And thank you, Angelo. Thank you. So there's no connection to the computer, so they can't do what is called cross-device uh, tracking. So when you do 2FA, two-factor authentication, I happen to have two SIM cards on this phone. Again, this is a Brax 2 phone. I have two SIM cards, and my second phone number is not what I usually use with my friends. So my main number with my friends and family is the same. Then I use the second number for 2FA. You can get a cheap one that's texting only. I saw one from, what company was that? What I saw was like 1,000 texts for, I don't know, $10 or something. It was very inexpensive. And I believe it lasted a year. So, yeah. So, anyway, the idea is, don't ask your questions right now. Ask your questions at the 30-minute mark. 10 minutes more, because I don't take questions during the first part. So the idea is to not put yourself in. Think about when somebody's trying to limit your technological choices, to not limit your technological choices. You know, you have to make your decision. Some of you, for example, want to buy an electric car. Some of you don't want an electric car. Well, have choices. Why? Because if there's an EMP, the electric cars aren't going to work. So if we have a mix of technology, it's possible we might survive an EMP and some old cars will still work. So that is actually an example in kind of real life that you can't be herded into very limited technologies because someone can knock those out. Just like someone can knock out communications in the internet. If you rely only on the internet for communications, then you are at risk. I don't. I have a ham radio. I have a ham radio license. I have HF radio. I have VHF. I got all of that. I got marine radio. So if the grid ever goes down, I have multiple ways of communicating. So I'm not going to be afraid because I don't rely on one technology. This is really an important point to understand, that when you go find, what new tech is available, you don't go jump up and down and say, oh, I see AirTag. That's great technology. I'm going to go buy that. And then you find out later on that AirTag sucks. It's being used against you too, because, if you want to be stalked, somebody drops an AirTag on you. And if you don't have an iPhone, you'll never know. So, technology can be used in bad ways. AirTags are, of course, part of the Apple Mesh network, a very, very dangerous network that puts Apple in the category of a super spy. So, guys, spread out. Don't rely on a phone too much. That's probably the major risk today, is over-reliance on mobile. And especially a certain kind of mobile. Now, for me, I'm not as afraid of mobile with a de-Googled phone or a privacy phone, because I can choose to install apps that are not controlled by big tech. So I have that choice. I can still install apps that are from big tech, but I don't have to, which means that if I want to hear a different point of view, nobody can censor what I can put on a de-Googled phone. I choose what goes on here. So if you are aware, then you can fight back. If you're not aware, like when certain players lost their access to apps, some of it deserved, some of it not. But when you lose access to apps, it's very, very unfair because you don't get a hearing. It's not like I was thinking about Gab. Now Gab itself is just a platform. It doesn't itself. It's not in itself the spreader of fake news or anything like that. People on the platform may do that, but they were blocked. So now a point of view was blocked. Now, whether or not you subscribe to whatever Gab says, it's not important. What's the fear? What's wrong with a little bit of open debate? You can't have an open debate on Twitter. It's not allowed. You can't have an open debate on any platform, certainly not Facebook, certainly not Google. If you do a search on any topic, Google will censor your search. If you do it at DuckDuckGo, they'll censor you even more. Okay? Now, DuckDuckGo is very left-wing, very. So you're not even going to see a middle point of view. There's not even a middle point of view. It's just far, far left. That's DuckDuckGo. It's still okay for privacy, so I still use it. But just saying, don't trust everything you see, because there's only one point of view. You know, I'd like to just be in the middle. See, you know, middle points of view. I can't even do that. So that's how sad it is nowadays. You can't even have that kind of freedom, because somebody is always going to judge for you because they're smarter than you. And when you give them the chance to limit the technologies by saying, well, 90% of people do not have computers, they only use their phone. Well, we're zucked. We are zucked. We get to that point when people say, well, I don't know how to use a computer. And I encounter so many people right now that says, I don't know how to use a computer. I only know how to use my phone. That is dangerous, man. That is dangerous. That is very dangerous to see. So I don't want to see that. I don't want you guys to ever lose information, lose the ability to judge for yourself and be controlled by somebody that is actively trying to change your opinion. I already told you in many videos that have been suppressed by Google that Google definitely suppresses search results. Definitely. And then I find out that DuckDuckGo is even worse. It's like, Zuck, I mean, where do you go for information? Bing, of course, is also censored. That's the source of DuckDuckGo. So where else can you find any well-balanced? You can't even get an opposition point of view, which is really important to understand the opposition point of view, so you can talk to people with an opposition point of view, so you can see how to frame an argument. You can't even do that because you don't know what their point of view is. Crazy. Crazy. This fear of debate. What's wrong with the society? We're so scared of debate. We only want to see one side, and if we can't see the other side, it makes us happy. So everyone just hides. They just hide in their own platform. But one side controls the tech, and they can say, well, we're going to make one side disappear. Yeah, they're successful in that. They are making one side disappear. So if you want to have some say in your future, in your freedom, in your choices, and your understanding of the world, please do not subscribe to the herding of technology, to 5G, to mobile phones. Spread out. Go to ham radio. Go to CB radio. Go to computers. Go to options that don't include the internet. Hopefully somebody will come up with that. Maybe Starlink will in the future offer its own private network that's not connected to the internet, that is immune to the internet. Maybe. Let's hope. Maybe some other company like that's powerful can say, okay, we'll create a technology that cannot be censored, because otherwise it's not going to be safe for all of us. So I hope you guys understand that, and if you want your browser not to be censored, do browser isolation, which is in many videos. That's a very important technique to use, and something that I've used very, very successfully. I have 3 browsers running at all times. I'm logged into Google on one. I'm not afraid to be logged into Google on one, and it's only on YouTube, or Google accounts or something, or even Gmail. I do it only in one browser, and I do not do anything else on that. Google only. So Google can only see what they already saw. Google can only see what they already know. They can't see anything that they don't know, because I don't put anything on any other browser that ever logs into Google. It never does. Never logs into Google. So by doing that, then the information is segregated, and that's my way of fighting back. And it's not connected to a phone, since I don't use Google phones. Okay. So yeah. So anyway, that's my thought for today. Now, before I continue here, I guess it's only 28 minutes now because I did the music, but let me just talk to you about my sponsor, which is Linode. By the way, I know that Linode was bought by Akamai, and they haven't changed anything that I can see. They're just as good to me, good to my company, and it's good with their services. In fact, they're adding more services probably because Akamai has more money. So I haven't seen anything to change my opinion about Linode. Linode is still, for me, the best experience in cloud providers. If you want cloud servers, uh, you know, and you want to compare it to, let's say, GoDaddy, AWS, Google, uh, Microsoft, Azure, all of that, and many, many players. I've gone through so many ISPs, and I've only gotten the best support and best prices from Linode. So most of my services are on the Linode servers. So actually, if somebody was asking me, about my Brax2 phone, how you get OTAs from this. On the air updates of this phone come from my Linode server. So I have a Linode server that your phone connects to see if there's an update. So thank you very much, guys, and I'll proceed on to answering questions. Okay, now somebody asked a question about volta, right? Somebody asked a question about volta. Who had a question about volta? Volta Wireless. If you're still here, then say so. Jason, you're not the one who asked that, I don't think. Who asked a question about Volta Wireless? Snack Snafu did. Okay, so if you looked at Volta Wireless, look no further because it looks the same as this. Look at the Volta Wireless pictures, guys. It's the same exact phone. The same exact phone. Okay? So, you want to go buy Volta Wireless? They charge more. So, okay. So, if you want to get a Volta Wireless, you want to pay more, go ahead. In fact, they're not shipping yet. I found that out. I'm shipping. I've shipped a lot of these. Okay? I've already sold a lot of these. So, do you need to wait for Volta Wireless? No. Brax2. Do you need to pay more for Brax2? For Volta Wireless? Do you need to pay the Volta Wireless price? No. It's right here. Okay? So, unfortunately, I did not know that they were using the same exact phone model. I did not know that. I found that out. So, but at least now I got it verified. Yes, it's the same phone. Volta Wireless is the same exact model as this. So don't get too excited with Volta Wireless. It's maybe exciting to think that there's something new. It's not new. I was first. Okay, so this is the exact same phone. In fact, there's some other models that are the exact same phone. Basically, a bunch of privacy-related phones have taken the same hardware. Because, several privacy-related projects have taken the same hardware, which is this. However, we do not all have the same software. The software that I use is Brax OS. It's specifically for Brax only. It is for me only. Nobody else has Brax OS. So the decisions about what Brax OS does is determined by what I do here. So in general, I think that some of the other options on OSs with some of the other players using the same hardware is a lot more restrictive than this. This is made to handle the privacy needs of a standard consumer. If you're if you want tighter security, you can add to this. You can even subscribe to some other entities and add more limitation to it. So it's easy to limit a phone, but once a phone is limited by the OS, you can't do much with it. So I'm not sure the average person will be satisfied. It might be too much of a shock to go with some of these variations on the software because they actually set up some very strict limits on what you can do on the phone. So yeah, you don't have much different. Well, there's no difference in hardware, so whatever, this hardware is the same, and the software that I have here is based on a much less restricted profile, even though it's already secure. So it's not going to limit you. You make the choice. I'm allowing you to make your choices on this. And some of the other claims are things like private SIM card. That is not really what that's all about. In order to get a private SIM, because they're saying, well, your SIM card is private because you don't expose your buying information. It's the actual, what's actually happening is they're selling you an EU SIM card and it's roaming in the US. So that's the basic premise of, it's private because you have a EU SIM. Well, you can get an EU SIM and put it even on this phone if you wanted to do that. Okay? And if you want to be more restrictive, some of you I've told, use data only. I don't really think that that's going to, I don't know what you're hiding with that. That isn't going to hide much. Even if you have your SIM from South Africa and you're roaming in the US, you're going to be spied on just the same because it's subject to the same zucking law, which is Kalia and all the spyware and Stingray and all that. That does not end. That is not restricted just because you didn't buy the SIM card in the USA. That makes no difference. When you're roaming, you're connected to whatever, and that's the same effect. So that is actually not a threat that I'm too concerned about because there's no way to control that. So that is not my target. I don't know why that is a target. It's like saying you can hide from the government. I'm telling you right now, you cannot. So since you can't hide from the government, I think it's a waste of time to play these games. So no, Stingray is the 3G model. There's obviously an LTE version of that. It's I forget the name of the sea creature. It's some other sea creature, mantis. I don't know. I forget. I used to remember, but search for it. Thank you. Prove to me you're not CGI. Brian Williamson, 199. That's proof. Can you please do a vid on small biz case for Brax? I don't have a video on small case for Brax. I don't make cases. So I don't make cases. What am I going to show you? I'd be more worried about turning into a phone zombie. And how much trust can we have that the Google phones can't be spied upon? Yes, you watch my videos. Yes, your phone can be spied on by government in voice and text at all times. Solution: don't use voice and text. If you're in a much more secure kind of spying, if you're that concerned, like let's say you're a journalist, use a data-only SIM and then use it doesn't matter what the phone is, but you should use the Google phone or a Brax 2 privacy phone. And then what you do is you have your contacts talk to you only on XMPP, which is Conversations app, which I preloaded on here. and Jitsi for video. And use only those for communications or signal with people you know. Very limited communications. Do not use voice or text. Well, you can't if you don't have a SIM card that handles that. When you do that, then you've blocked out. Guys, just watch my videos. I mean, that was last week's video. When you do that, you basically block out the access to the data so that the CLIA law gets. Now, is that enough? Yes. The main target is really two: mass surveillance and big tech. Now, big tech is a choice you got to make with having the Google phones, because the Google phones are not trackable by big tech since there is no big tech in it. So yeah, that's pretty much a complete solution right there. Get a Brax2 privacy phone. If you want to go extreme, use data only. If you want to go super extreme, get data only roaming. It's expensive. It's like $10 a month for 1 gigabyte. So yeah, it's expensive. But data only, even if you get it locally, if you get it from, you can get like unlimited T-Mobile $50, which you can use as a hotspot for everything, unlimited. So okay, so what's the, well, if it's 5G, it's very limited because I have a 5G device that doesn't get anything. So yeah, I've paid $50 a month and I'm like not getting anything. So it's like, zuck, being cheated. So I cut off that service. My LTE phone on Brax, I can do this as a hotspot, the Brax2. This has faster service than that 5G. So anyway, that's secures the phone from big tech and government. That's it. That's all you can do. Yes, can they hack your phone? Of course they can. But the less you rely on the phone for voice and text, the harder it is to hack, because that's what they're trying to hack. They're trying to hack voice and text. All of the hacks that relate to the phone relate to voice and text. So if you don't have voice and text, what is there to hack? They can't, they can't listen into voice and text if you don't use voice and text. There's alternatives. If you have data and you want to call out, you can use Viber. And then you have to pay Viber, and then you can call out to normal phones. It works. I don't like the social media part of Viber. I actually tested Viber. I've tested Viber to see if it runs on my device, but somebody had a question for me about if Viber actually works, because he couldn't get it to work on his phone. So I actually logged into Viber for the first time and signed up with Viber on my phone. And lo and behold, I got hundreds of messages from people. They found me from zucking contact lists. Hate that. Hate that. So yeah, so it's like everyone in the world who knew my old phone number contacted me on Viber. Pissed me off because when you don't plan on it, all I was doing was testing the phone, and suddenly Viber becomes a big part of my phone. It's like, did I want to do that? So I may redo that and use a different phone number so that when I go use Viber, nobody knows it. Easy. I have a dual SIM phone. I can use the second SIM phone number, which nobody knows, and then use that for a Viber, and then I don't have to worry about that. So that's just something to let you know. Line's expensive. Yeah, Line. Viber is very, very popular in Asia. Viber is Luxembourg. It's owned by a Japanese company now, originally from Israel. I use Ting. In fact, I have a referral code for Ting. I use Ting primarily, so I have in my house there are several phones on Ting and several phones on T-Mobile. So I'm mostly Ting and T-Mobile. Ting is T-Mobile. So I have 2 Brax phones on Ting, 1 Brax phone on T-Mobile. Okay, so that's That's my breakdown. Just for temp SMS phone numbers. Yeah, so for SMS, I use the second SIM for that, for 2FA, two-factor authentication. You use Vans for videos, that's fine. Jitsi is a video app. Jitsi is very easy to use. So instead of using Zoom or FaceTime or anything like that, you install Jitsi. It's extremely simple to use. I mean, you set up a room and you tell whoever you're talking to, meet me on room, whatever, call it Cosmic Rose Room. And then you meet in there and there you go, that's it. No special login, no identification. Nobody knows who you are. It's fantastic. Jitsi is awesome. Any application that does not require you to identify yourself, like XMPP Conversations, which is my fave, is perfect. You don't need to get it end-to-end encrypted. You don't need any more than that with Jitsi, because there's no identification. You can even run your own Jitsi server. So yeah, can we use Viber here in the USA? Yes, I mean I use Viber here. Yes, you can use Viber. Point of hiding from corpse if government sees. Point of hiding from corpse if government sees everything. Government sees everything of what? There's a limit to what they can see. It's not global. Okay? Government and carriers see voice and text primarily. Government sees email. Big tech sees social media and email if you're on Gmail or your email's being run by big tech. So partition your threats. I mean, don't just say, don't generalize statement. It doesn't make any sense. What's your threat? Deal with it. Okay? Government and big tech are connected in some ways and not in others. I have 2 last videos on that. Watch the 2 last videos. They talk about all that. Should we replace SMS with XMPP? Absolutely. If you can get important people to use XMPP, you've eliminated a visibility from carriers and government. So any message you remove from anytime you do not answer your phone call, every time you do not respond with SMS means less information for government mass surveillance, CALIA, all of that. You don't have to be a criminal. Why do they need to keep a database of everything I sucking do? Okay? You don't have to be a criminal to have this fear of someone collecting a big database of everything you've ever said in texting in your entire life. For goodness sakes. Do you want a record of everything you said in SMS in your entire life? Guys, maybe I need to make another video on that. It's a big deal. So there's so many encrypted apps now which they cannot break into. Signal is great with people who know your phone number. Telegram is fine with people that know your phone number. Otherwise, use XMPP, and the app that I pre-install on Brax 2 Privacy Phone and the Google phones that I sell is Conversations, which is XMPP, and I even offer you a free XMPP server. It's xmpp.brax.live. I provide that for free. You don't have to pay for it. If you want to use a paid service, they have more services and more storage and all that. You can do that as well, but mine is free. So if you outgrow mine, you can go use the paid ones. Mine is text only, so I don't store the images for you. But if you want to do images and MMS type of stuff, then go use the paid one and they can do more. But it's end-to-end encrypted. It's fantastic. Okay, so yeah, you got to understand. You got to understand your threats. Then you got to say, is that important to you? I'm not afraid of government surveillance per se, because I'm not an active surveillance target that I'm aware of, since I don't do anything against the law. You never know. Maybe they have me because they don't like what I say. They may have me on the targeted list, but I don't really go against the law. So I follow the law. I may not like some laws, but I still follow everything. Okay, I follow law whether it's driving or or anything that they require, I may speak out and say I don't like it, but I follow the law. So I pay my taxes. I've been. Yeah, I don't have anything to hide from the IRS. They've audited me, and I always pay my taxes. So I'm not like John McAfee. Poor John McAfee. Uh, that's a tough battle to fight, to say I'm not going to go pay taxes. Well, I don't know if I have the power to fight the U.S. government, so I don't do things like that. However, I don't like mass surveillance. Like I said, why would you want every text you've ever given, that you've ever posted in your entire life? Why would you want the government to have that? I mean, that's pretty crazy. Think to yourself, what texts and what emails have you sent in your entire life? Think the last 25 years. And say, what if somebody in government were able to see all that? And then rethink the same question. And what if somebody in big tech has seen all that? Rethink those two questions and you will, because somebody says, I have nothing to hide. Oh yeah, you fucking idiot. Just think about what I just said. You really have nothing to hide over 25 years. Okay? 25 years. Something that you just want to keep private. It doesn't have to be against the law. I'm not saying it has to be against the law. It just, something private. Even just a personal experience you don't want necessarily to have the world know about. And you texted it to somebody. Or a feeling that you had at the time that you texted to somebody. And to know that somebody has that. You mean that's fine with you? Well, if that's fine with you, then I don't know. I can't help you. You're pretty hopeless. Fortunately, most of you here are not like that. But I'm just saying that that's the kind of person I encounter when they say, I've got nothing to hide. Yeah, really? How can we know you will keep our data safe if we sign up with BraxMe? I don't know who you are on BraxMe. Sun Gazer, that's the insurance on BraxMe. I don't know who you are. So as I said, you don't like BraxMe? Go to Facebook. You trust them? What is your choice? BraxMe, Facebook. Oh, I don't trust BraxMe, but you trust Facebook? I don't know who you are. I don't track your IP address. There's not even a log of an IP address. I struck that out. BraxMe is open source encrypted. Don't know who you are. So you could actually say, okay, I'm going to come up with 2 accounts. One account I'm going to use to buy products from Rob, okay? And I'll know who you are because I have to ship product to you, obviously. Okay? But I might come up with a second account where it's not connected to that. Well, obviously, I'm not going to know who you are on the second account. How am I supposed to know who you are? Unless you tell me. XMPP is a protocol, Cherry. The app that I recommend is, there's different apps for XMPP protocol. On Android, it's called Conversations. It's a very good app. There's various apps on iPhone, like Monal. They're all XMPP. There are desktop-based conversations, so you can use it on the desktop. The desktop app is called Gajim, G-A-G-J-I-M, G-A-J-I-M. So there's other people already using XMPP. They're discussing it. There's a group on BraxMe, and they know that it's very safe, and there's no identity. It's not like Signal where you have to reveal a phone number. With XMPP, you don't reveal anything. There's no information about you. Okay? You are afraid. Well, be afraid of the right people. It's like funny, you're afraid of me. Why are you afraid of me? What am I doing? I mean, I'm the one helping you. That's weird. You're like afraid of the guy trying to help you. Oh, I'm not going to get your VPN. I don't trust you. Oh, okay. Go trust Mr. Nord. Is there a Mr. Nord? Oh, go trust Mr. Norton antivirus. Is there a Mr.? Yeah, there's a Mr. Norton, but that's a different company. The evil Symantec used to be. My OEM manufactures Brax phones, and they also, unfortunately, manufactures also Volta phones. They're made in a factory in China, which is the same factory that makes CoolPad Cool S. Okay, so who's my favorite jazz artist? What does that have to do with anything here? That's on my jazz channel. I should go live on my jazz channel. You can ask me that there. Okay, you don't trust VPNs at all. Well, you gotta trust a VPN or you're zucked. Because this is a funny thing. Somebody said, "Well, I don't trust a VPN." Well, okay. What do you trust now? Then I'm not gonna use one. Then you're zucked. I mean, given a choice, trust a VPN or nothing. You have to trust a VPN. Come on. Okay, there's not much of a choice. Okay, so obviously you can trust my VPN. I don't have a log. If you want to audit it, you can audit it. You don't have logs on it. Uh, uh, and I'm a real person here. If you ever catch me taking logs, you can come in here and say, "You're lying. You have logs." Yeah, you can say it all in public here because I can't lie to you. I can't even have bad products and unhappy customers because you will come into my broadcast here and go attack me. And notice I don't have a big number of people here attacking me because obviously most customers are happy, and if they're not happy, I refund their money. So nobody complains because nobody loses anything. If you're unhappy, I refund you your money. You can't make everybody happy, so at least there should not be any monetary losses. I'll take the loss, which I do. So you don't have to worry. Somebody said, I don't know about your honesty here. I don't know if you actually shipped the phone. So you got to do it. I just paid you $700 for a phone, and I'm concerned now. And then they get the phone. Say, okay, now I know I can trust you. It's like, guys, there's really limited risk, when there are parties that can limit fraud to you, like PayPal and a credit card company. If I commit fraud, I can't survive as an entity. So I sell many, many, many phones, okay? I sell thousands and thousands of phones. It's a pretty big number. Well, not a big number compared to the big players who sell billions of phones. But, I can't have unhappy customers because, I won't be able to sustain this. Okay, so yeah, it's kind of ludicrous. I don't know if I can trust you. Well, go trust Google then. Who are you supposed to trust? I can't force you to trust me, but come on, make some sensible comparisons. I can't trust you. I'm gonna use Google Docs. Would it be a surprise if Starlink satellites decrypt all data? Decrypt what data? Nobody can decrypt. I mean, you'd need a quantum computer, and even that would be limited in speed. And I'm not even sure about that being able to be done in real time anytime in the future. I think you can only do it statically and will take a while. And you have to target because HTTPS changes keys constantly. So you have to only target like a small segment. So realistically, for average people, it is not possible to decrypt HTTPS. So any ISP cannot decrypt the HTTPS traffic, which is what is happening on the internet mostly now. They can decrypt other parts of it, like email, which is not part of that system, that doesn't come from you, that is not HTTPS. It uses a different protocol called sometimes unencrypted, sometimes using StartTLS. Somebody was insulting me on, another stupid person was insulting me on the discussion about email and MTA to MTA traffic that I claim was unencrypted, which it mostly is, but it's starting to be encrypted with StartTLS. And these idiots don't even understand what StartTLS is. A three-letter agency could block StartTLS with packet, what do you call that? Packet insertion. So they go watch the packets come by and they see a StartTLS command, which is in plain text. Block it. If they don't see a StartTLS command, a server will not encrypt with StartTLS. Since you can block that traffic to StartTLS, a very easy thing to do. You can, put a traffic blocker right before it gets to that network. Then it doesn't go to TLS. Then you can read the traffic. Or the better solution is just pay Google and say, we want to read your traffic. We'll just pay you. We put a server in there to listen in, and you don't have to get involved. We just pay you to listen in, and we'll send all data to Utah, to the data center in Utah. Okay, end of story. Is Volta cellular carrier a good option? You can use a Volta cellular carrier on this phone. I told you I don't believe that is much of any importance. Okay, wow. I see my video is frozen here. You can still hear audio. I did not notice that. Sorry, hold on. So video is still running. Why is that? Okay, I'm gonna have to interrupt this briefly here to see if the video can recover. Hold on, I'll disconnect for a moment here. And then, yeah, I'll disconnect for a moment and then we'll try again here. Okay, let's see. Let's see if it recovered. I see video. Okay. Looks like OBS crapped out there. OBS crapped out. And then it worked again. Okay, so that was an easy fix. Signal was bad, but good. Internet was good. It was just an issue with OBS. It kind of hung. Okay, OBS had IBS. Camille Nelson, thank you. Frozen is no good because it's good for the Disney. Low res, hit refresh. It's not. I'm not sending you low res. No, BlackBerry passport is done. That has no VoLTE. If you're on low res, just hit refresh, get a bigger signal. No, I'm not out of focus, so I'm sending you correct information here. Can EMP knock out spark plugs? It needs if you understand the electronics of that, or if you have some understanding of electricity, in order to build a voltage that can go through a spark plug, you need a long wire, and then electromagnetic energy has to be so strong in that long wire to do that. But spark plug has a very short wire, so I'm going to say no. In fact, if you have a cell phone, it is possible that your cell phone, the towers may not survive an EMP. Your cell phone might. The reason is there's no long wires in a cell phone. So if it gets a lot of EMF, there are no long wires to create the voltage necessary to fry this. Your house, though, has. So any plugged-in device, there's enough wiring in your house to get a lot of voltage with a lot of EMF, and that could then spike the electricity and that'll burn stuff. Probably not with a disconnected device. So, okay, so it has to do with a wire because electromagnetic force has to go through the wire like an antenna. It has to be received by something, and the wire has to be resonant. So if it's not resonant, it may not take much of that power. It may ignore that. So it depends. So you have to, some EMP, I believe, will probably send a wide range of frequencies. So it may affect a lot of things, but not short wires. ICs themselves will not be fried unless they're connected to long wires. The ICs fry. I don't know where we're in this topic, but I do have a video on EMP. ICs cannot be fried by themselves. They need a long wire. So if you're plugged in, the spike in the power will fry the ICs. You're going to cut all the cords in your house so you get EMP. It's very easy. Just unplug. When you're unplugged, then you don't have, a long wire connection. So, store some devices in your, in your gun cabinet or gun safe, which is metal, and that should shield some of it. Grounding techniques. But we don't know the kind of power that might. Even if you ground it, it's still a lot of power. Video is not frozen right now. Don't let the smoke out of your electronics. As a musician against the tech landscape, can't I get my band any gigs without a social presence on IG or Facebook? JD, yes, don't use your real name. Do not use your real name. That's simple. Like when I post videos on my jazz channel, I don't identify the musician. They may not like that, but I don't identify the musicians. I identify the band, not the musicians. They can identify their participation with that band in their own page, but I'm not going to go, share their information. Live chat moving 2 miles an hour. Hit refresh, correct your own network. It's fine here. The traffic is good. Let me see, just verifying here. Yep, I'm sending 4K traffic. What about IG being able to access remote devices by simply having the app? Correct, they can do that. JD, so why the zuck do you have IG? I mean, that's the basic question. Do not ever load IG or Facebook or WhatsApp on your phone, or you will let Zuck in. Don't ever get the Google phone and say, I'm going to load IG and WhatsApp and Facebook on it, because if you do, you do not deserve a Google phone. You do not deserve a Brax 2 privacy phone because you haven't learned your lesson. Don't buy my products if you're going to load Facebook. Do not. Please, if you make a decision that you're going to use Facebook, IG, and WhatsApp, any of those, you're zucked already. I mean, there's nothing I can do. Loading IG on Brave safer, yes. Yeah, you can load things on a browser and it'll be safer. Don't load the app. The app is the problem here. Everyone wants to be social media. Yes, exactly. And how many got rich from it? Well, some, but okay. So it hung there. Okay, hold on. Kind of froze. Okay, it froze. Internet dropped. That one was valid. The internet dropped. Yeah, I saw it. The connection dropped momentarily for a few seconds, and then it's back up. Uh, Telegram gets your phone number, so for that reason alone, I don't want to use it. Otherwise, it's fine. It's not, it's not my idea of end-to-end encryption, but it's actually fine for common use. As long as aware that you're revealing your phone number to somebody. What is Class X CME noise? What does that mean? Intermittent? Well, signal's okay right now. Periscope 1-year app shuts down for good. Periscope 1 year ago shuts down for good. Well, yeah. What's going to be the next gen of cameras on phones? Then this is another one. In fact, I forgot to mention that in the topic. Don't rely on your phone as your camera. Don't. Get yourself a nice camera. There's so many nice cameras and nice video, like a tiny Osmo Action, which is so small, and fancy GoPros and all this that can record so well that I use myself. Plus the big cameras that I use. My cameras are very expensive. The cameras that I use for my videos are $3,000-$4,000 cameras. And don't use your phone. Don't get herded into saying that this is your phone, this is your camera. This is a phone. This is not a camera. Now, Brax 2 has a very good camera. It's actually quite good. But it's for occasional photos and such, and occasional videos, and it's a very good quality. But for doing YouTube, for example, I use a real camera, not the phone. Is there a WhatsApp substitute? Yes. XMPP, I already said. I like how Brax lives in the middle of big tech land over in California. Yeah, actually, I'm in Silicon Beach. So Google, Yahoo, they're all here. Facebook, they're all here. I mean, they're all in this area. Chat is too fast. Well, I tell people to stop typing. Chat's too fast. Telegram is safe to use primarily for one-on-one conversations as long as you're okay with the phone number. For group conversations, it's not encrypted. Is that a problem? Maybe not. SIM removed, destroyed. iPhone factory reset now. Yates Network. There's a Yates BTS, for spoofing 3G on a radio. It's a Yates open source. Best everyday use camera. I use Sony's, to be honest. So I use for my standard videos, I use a Sony. What do I have? I forgot the model. Something 7. So yeah. So what's that model? A7 A7S. Is that what I have? I can't remember now. And then I have for now I'm using a 6400, Sony 64. So this is broadcast is a 6400. I have a A7S, I believe, not A7R. I don't have that. That came out after. So I bought it. Yeah, at the time the only available one was A7S. So I have an A7S and then expensive lenses with it. What is your question? That yes or no? You got to repeat your question, otherwise I don't see it. I mean, it's going so fast. Okay, so um, repeat the question. Sony camera vulnerable to being hacked? No. How is a Sony going to be hacked? I'm not connected to the internet. A phone camera can be secured on Samsung. I run in Knox sort of hidden. BS. Somebody can take your pictures from your camera and hack it. You can't take the pictures from my Sony cameras because it's not connected to the internet. They say he can. They say he compromised Sony cameras. What? How does he How does he compromise Sony cameras if I'm not connected to the internet? Battery life on Brax 2 I find in heavy use about 2 days. If in light use it can run to 5 days. Um, Justin, there's occasional glitches here, but I don't think it's on my end right now. Sometimes it happens on your end. All blockchains are. Is there a Knox-like VM they can run on Brax phone? Android is a VM. It's already a VM. It's protected by SE Linux. There's some technical things you got to understand. An Android AOSP phone is already protected because it's running the Android runtime. So as long as there's no Google in the Android runtime, it's pretty locked up. It's already a VM. As long as you stop access to system apps, which a AOSP phone like Brax 2 privacy phone does, there's no access to the innards of this because there's no Google, there's no big tech that can access the innards. So every app runs only in the runtime, meaning they're running in the VM already. So yeah, as long as you don't root your phone, then they don't get access beyond whatever they're supposed to access, and they're limited by a framework on Android called SE Linux, which inhibits apps from doing things they're not supposed to run, which can be overridden by Google if Google is installed on a phone. But there's no Google on here, so there's nothing to override that. 5G sucks. Come on, I get that. I answered that even in yesterday's video. Watch yesterday's video. Session's good. No decent finance is decent. What the heck does that mean? Chromebook is Suck. Don't use Chromebook. A Russian EMP will kill all electronics. I haven't used IG or FB since 2020. That's not that long ago. JD, go on other social media that's a little safer than IG or FB. Okay? Anything owned by Facebook is just pure evil. There's just no way around it. I can't really help you with those. Go elsewhere. YouTube. Even YouTube is better. SE Linux not able, that completely different threat. SE Linux is not going to be overridden by some standard app. In order to get beyond that, you need a whole different kind of interface, like a hack on the baseband modem or something like that. Which I discuss. Okay, but that's you're asking if you're running inside a VM inside Android and you are only an app, a standard app, you don't get access because SE Linux can stop you. So SE Linux cannot be overridden from an app side. It's got to be overridden from the system side. Since the Google phone has nothing in the system side that anybody can control, then you don't worry about that. You use both Sony's and Samsung. It's okay. I'll build the band's following on YouTube on our website. YouTube is not a bad way to do it, and you're not compromising your privacy so much as long as you don't put real names, just band names. I thought film was obsolete. Tried Facebook 6 years ago. Good for you. There's no such thing as safe email, Odelia, but if you want an email that's not tied to big tech, use Braxmail. At least, nobody's actively reading it. They can read it in transport, but if you don't identify yourself, nobody's tracking you from your own server. So I run Braxmail. So you can still be tracked. I mean, somebody will still read it in transport. So the idea is to minimize what you do in email. But don't say, oh, there's some safe email. There is none. Proton mail, none of that. Tutanota. There's no such thing as safe email. So don't buy into the false promise. You cannot encrypt. The idea that you can encrypt email is a false promise. Okay, truly. You have to run an encrypted email service like I did to see exactly what I'm talking about. I can see everything because since 99% of your email or more is not encrypted, I can associate things with you. Even if most of your email is encrypted, I can see everything you're saying to everybody else. And that, it doesn't matter if some of your traffic is encrypted. So what are you going to encrypt? Bank account numbers or something serious like that. But everyone can still see what the heck you're talking about. So no. So the answer, don't rely on sucking email. Why not go to XMPP? XMPP is kind of like email. You send it to, an email-like address. Okay, we have another slowdown here. Hold on. My video is acting up. Okay, we'll let it settle down here. Okay. Video acting up. Okay, there it is. Settle down. Okay, so just a little unsteadiness on the internet here occasionally. Otherwise, it's okay. xmpp.brax.live is my XMPP server if you want to use a free XMPP service. And an app I recommend for Androids is Conversations. And if you're a private company, yeah, you should run your own XMPP server. You can afford to. Run your own Jitsi server. If I were a company and I want privacy, I'd run my own Jitsi server and my own XMPP server and say all employees talk only on these. It's perfect. Perfect. Then you don't have to worry about email ever again. I'm starting to think even my 92-year-old mother is compromised. It's not just that your mother's compromised, it passes on to you, into your family, into your life forever and ever. Why would you think Discord is safe? I don't fucking use Discord. From New Zealand, Richard, how are you doing? I can only see my own chat questions. Maybe you're being limited by YouTube in some way. Okay, so backup storage app. I don't know. There's many. Well, they're saying TikTok is CCP, so I don't know. You decide that. You need to let these peeps know they ain't hearing me. Phil, you need to let these peeps know they aren't here. I can hear you or see you. I don't know what you're saying. Switzerland, wow. The EU side is waking up. Welcome Europe. I'm going to check out Vorb soon? What is Vorb? What about Hot Shield? I'm not gonna, guys. Bytes VPN from me. Okay. Is there a you name all these companies? NordVPN. Is there Mr. Nord? Private Internet Access VPN. Is there a Mr. Private Internet Access? On and on and on. Name every brand. Norton antivirus. A bunch of thieves over there. They're charging me for antivirus that I'm not using, and they've been charged. And I said, "What the heck are you putting?" Every year, there's a scam being scammed by Norton, like their original company, Symantec, the biggest scammers in the world. Don't ever use anything from Norton. They are the big. First of all, don't even use their antivirus; it's useless. But that's an example of a really bad company. So yeah. So you're like telling me that you should use such and such a product, and you don't even know who the company is. And I'm here. I have Bytes VPN. I have Bragg's phone. There's no mystery who I am. You see me on YouTube. I'm the guy that sells this, and you see my face. And this is the guy that sells this. I'm the one that runs Bragg's Me. I wrote Bragg's Me. So there's no mystery. I control what happens on this phone, all the OTA updates run by this guy. I run the VPN. I run the Brax router. I wrote the Brax router. So, yeah. So, xmpp.brax.live. All you have to do is go to BraxMe and ask people there. They will know. Just go on BraxMe and ask. You're not going to remember everything from a video. Okay, so where is your VPN headquarters located, sir? My VPN headquarters is in Los Angeles, California, but I have no servers in Los Angeles, California. My servers are all over the world. My servers are in east, south, west, south, north, Canada, Germany, UK, Singapore, Japan, Australia. Yeah, I think those are the main hubs, which is where most of my followers are. So I don't have servers in the Philippines. Is Linux virus proof? No, but it's pretty resistant. You just have to use common sense, and you'll be fine. Are you load balancing with Linode? Yes. I mean, what kind of question is that? What can I say? You got me laughing, and I'm having a good time. Good. And Raspberry Pis yet. There is a problem. This is a worldwide supply problem. I ordered my Raspberry Pis from our suppliers. In October, I prepaid for them. I did not get it. It's already April. I still don't have it. I asked them, and they did not respond. Okay. Then I looked and I said, the reason I wanted to find out was because I saw they were selling some on Amazon, and then I checked the price, and they were selling it for triple price, 3 times as expensive. So they tripled the price, which means they don't have supply. So then I'm not gonna go bug them. It means they haven't gotten stock yet. Okay, so we don't have stock. Okay, I only have 1 minute here. Can someone see your messages with your phone number? Well, it on Telegram and all this, your contacts already know your phone number. So it's a third party establishing connection between phone numbers that is very, very bothersome. What happens if I die? Will the phone still work? Yes, of course the phones will still work, for goodness sakes. What does that have to do with me? Oh my gosh, I'm just the phones will stop working if something happens to Rob. Well, don't let anything happen to me then. No. What will stop the phone from working? That's kind of a crazy question, actually. Okay. Compare Starlink to McAfee. McAfee's there's no McAfee anymore. So my poor guy. I mean, I got along with him. He was good. He was a good guy. I had very nice chats with John McAfee. I really liked him. Okay, so yeah, business will move forward. Of course it will, and uh, yeah, the company Braxmobile supports supports all these products. What antivirus do you recommend? Nothing. J Fax. Somebody actually asked, put on my video, the antivirus video. Are you serious? Yes, I am sucking serious. If the CIA says don't use a Zaki antivirus, and you say no, we got to use an antivirus. Well, if the three-letter agency of your country says it's very dangerous to use an antivirus, what makes you smarter than them? Well, I'm not. I'm not smarter than the CIA. So as far as I can see, their logic is very clear. It's actually a risk to use antivirus. I do not use an antivirus. Okay, thank you guys. Thank you for watching, and watch my videos, please, because some of these videos are very important. The last 3 videos are very important, and nobody watched the videos from 2 weeks ago, the one on the hacking a phone, and it's a very, very important video. Okay, thank you for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.